All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praises, double honor, and glorification to the Most High Yahweh by Shema Mashiach, Mamaraki Yahushua. Right, so there's gonna be a quick video, Lord willing, through the Spirit. I titled this the crown. All right, so we're just gonna dive into the crown and the significance of receiving a crown from Yahushua. Everything that come with that, because essentially, if you receive a crown, that's because you made it, not because you got the victory. So that's because you're getting the kingdom. All right, so we're gonna touch on the importance of the crown, aka getting the victory. What comes with that, a few things that come with that as well. So it's not gonna be a long video, through the Spirit. It's gonna be rather quick, Lord willing. But we're just gonna touch on the crown and we're gonna dive straight into it. So I typed out I was going into a meditation one day. I was at the plantation, I was meditating, I was just in the Spirit. So all the precepts and stuff that started coming to my mind, I typed it all out, so I could put together a mini breakdown through the Spirit. So we're gonna kick it off. I'm gonna flow through the whole breakdown, Lord willing, in order. So we're gonna dive right into it. So we enduring to get the victory and get that righteous crown placed upon our heads. Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 2, and verse 40. Let's look at the vision that Ezra seen. All right, this is the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 2, and verse number 40. It says, "Take thy number, O Zion, and shut up those of thine that are clothed in white, which have fulfilled the law of the Lord." It says, "The number of thy children whom thou longest for is fulfilled," which is the elect. It says, "What? Beseech the power of the Lord, that thy people which have been called from the beginning may be hallowed. I, Ezra, saw upon the Mount Zion a great people whom I could not number, and they all praise the Lord with songs." So this is the elect, the 1/3 and the 144. All right, a great multitude. It says, "What? And in the midst of them there was a young man of a high stature, taller than all the rest, which is Yahweh. It says, what? And upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted, which I marvel at greatly." So Yahweh, essentially, Ezra seen a vision of Yahweh saying crowns upon people's heads that made it, that got the victory, that crossed the finish line, for lack of better terms. They received the crown. And it's many beautiful things that come with receiving that crown. All right, let's read a little bit more. It says, what? Verse 44. "So I asked the angel and said, Sir, what are these? He answered and said unto me, These be they that have put off the mortal clothing and put on the immortal, and have confessed the name of God, which, Salakia, confess the name of God. Now are they crowned and receive poems." So you getting a crown is essentially it being stamped official that you got the victory, that you got the kingdom. All right. So this is a beautiful thing that Ezra is seeing. Men, women, children, receiving the crown, a crown from Yahweh Shai. All right. And what kind of people receive the crown? It said, what? These be they that have put off the mortal clothing. Putting off the mortal clothing essentially is putting off the works of the flesh. Okay. Putting off wickedness. All right. Because when you read, what is that? Wisdom of Solomon 1:15, it says righteousness is immortal. All right. It says what? They put off the mortal clothing and put on the immortal. All right. So they put on faith in Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, faith in his beloved son, while striving their best to keep the commandments and moving in the spirit rather than moving in the flesh. They put on immortality, man. All right. Let's finish this out. It says what? It says, verse 46, "Then said I unto the angel, What young person is it that crowneth them and giveth them palms in their hands? So he said unto me, and he said unto me, It is the Son of God, whom they have confessed in the world." And that fifth seal getting ready to crack open. All right, that fifth seal crack open, you gonna have righteous men, women, and children, elect martyrs that are gonna confess the name of Yahweh Shai. They're gonna confess the name of Yahweh, and they're gonna stand boldly for this truth. All right, and those same type people are gonna get crowned, elect holy martyrs. Some brothers and sisters might not die. All right, but they still confess in the name of Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, amongst the earth. All right, so those are the type of people that get crowned. It says, "Whom they have confessed in the world. Then began I greatly to commend them that stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord." It says, "Then the angel said unto me, Go thy way and tell my people what manner of things and how great wonders of the Lord thy God thou hast seen." So Ezra, and that's why we got it written right here in the book, right? Ezra was charged to go tell everybody, hey, look, they seen brothers and sisters getting crowned. by the Son of God, Yahweh Shah the righteous, man. So that's a big deal. So this topic, we going into the crown. I mean, we want to be a part of that crowd of people right there. Lord willing, we want to be the holy people that was seen in Ezra's vision, the elect of Israel. Getting crowned because we stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord. Getting crowned because we put off all the mortal works of the flesh. All right. Getting crowned because we stood so stiffly and bold for Yahweh and Yahweh Shah. All right. Let's go to the next precept. All right. So Ezra, she's seen people who endured pretty basically and received their crown, So imagine being a part of that. Imagine being in that group of people, humbly, righteously picture yourself, and getting a crown placed on your head with other righteous brothers and sisters in this thing, man. That's truly a beautiful lot. All right, so let's go to Revelation 19. All right, this book of Revelation, chapter 19, verses 7 through 8. Check it out. It say, "Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him. For the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready," which essentially is the elect of Israel. It says, "And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen." It says, "clean and white." It says, "For the fine linen is the righteousness of the saints." All right. So that fine linen, that's the righteousness of the saints. And what is that fine linen? It's clean and it's white, meaning what? Their garments is pure. Their spirit is right. Okay. Their spirit is right. What's the classic? Ecclesiastes. Let me put that real quick. Ecclesiastes chapter 9. This book of Ecclesiastes chapter 9 verse 8. "Let thy garments be always white, and let thy head lack no ointment." So you want your spirit to be as white as it could be. Basically clean, as holy as it could be. Okay, because what he say in Revelation 19 and 8? "And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen." So the bride is going to be arrayed in fine linen. Holiness, pureness, all white. It say what? Clean and white. So that fine linen that she arrayed in is clean and white. Spirit pure, spirit holy. It says what? For the fine linen is the righteousness of the saints, man. All right. So we want to be clothed in that fine linen. We want to be clothed in that righteousness. All right. Ready to receive that crown upon our head, by putting off the mortal and putting off the mortal and putting on immortal. All right. Now let's go to Revelation 3 and 11. All right. We're trying to put off the mortal flesh, the mortal works thereof, and put on immortality, which is righteousness, which is the fine linen, which is the holiness. All right. Let's go to Revelation 3 and 11. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 11. It says, what? "Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown." All right. Now that's a big deal, because we're talking about the crown. Yahweh Shah told us to hold fast what you got. Don't let nobody take your crown. All right. So we got to hold on to our crown. The Lord has commanded us. All right. He is charging us to hold fast to the crown that we have, and we can't let nobody take it. All right. So if the Lord telling us straight up and down, to hold fast to the crown that you got, you can't let nobody take it. That must mean it's somebody out there that want to take this crown. Somebody want to take the crown. Now, I'm pretty sure we can all guess who that is. All right. On the spiritual level. Let's go to John 10. All right. This book of John, right? Chapter 10. We're going to start at verse 7. Book of John, chapter 10 and verse 7, it say what? "Then said Yahushua unto them again, Verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep." Right? So Yahushua is the door of the sheep. Can't enter in no other way. The sheep, they're going to know Yahushua's voice, like he said. So they're going to run to that door. They're going to run to Yahushua. They're going to run to the shepherd. They say what? Verse number 8, "All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them." All right. It says, "I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved and shall go in and out and find pasture." So we're going to be able to go in and out and find pasture. By dealing with Yahweh Shah. We're going to be able to sup. He's going to sup with our spirit and build us up. And we're going to chew upon the pastures. We're going to get built up. So essentially what Yahweh Shah tell you, look, first of all, our king is here to protect us from the thieves. All right, which is these demons. Right? And the chief thief is Satan. So we can't let Satan and his demons take our crown. All right. So we must enter to the door with Yahweh Shah so we could be protected and we could be built up. and be strong and rooted as we chew upon the pastures that Yahweh has to offer for us. Okay, let's keep reading. It says what? Verse 10. The thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that they might have life and that they may have it more abundantly. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. And Yahweh did give his life for the sheep. His blood was shed for us that it may atone for our sins and that we may receive remissions and forgiveness of sins. His blood protects us. It covers us. It keeps us protected. Just like in Exodus, you had the blood upon your doorposts. All right, so the destroyer wouldn't come get you. Okay, so on a spiritual level, we know that Satan is that chief thief. And they tell you, what does the chief thief come for to do? He cometh not but for to steal, kill, and destroy. So Satan wants your crown. He want to take clean up off your head, kill. He want to steal it, kill you, destroy you. But Yahweh already gave us the free game. He said, look, I'm the door for the sheep. If you come to me and you enter in with me, you're going to get these pastures. You're going to get protected. I'm going to lead you. I'm going to guide you. I'm going to be the shepherd. So Yahweh here to protect us. Our king got our back. He's here to protect us and help us keep this crown balanced on our head. All right. Let's go to Psalms 91 real quick. All right. Book of Psalms, chapter 91. I said verse 1. Psalms 91 and 1. It says what? He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. And these scriptures is a secret place. There's many chambers in the books of the Lord, man. All right. There's many chambers in the secrets of wisdom, man. Okay. Hey, come into the secret place of the Lord and get under the shadow of his wings. Get under his protection. Get in his favor, man. So the Most High can take care of you. You say what? Verse 2. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in him will I trust. So you got Yahweh and Yahweh as a refuge, as a fortress, as a protection. All right. The Lord could be a hedge about you so this thief don't come take your crown. Because remember, he only want to steal, kill, and destroy. So you gotta stay by your protection. You got to keep your guards up. All right, ready to fight. And you have to stay by your protection. You have to stay where there's a hedge at round about you. So you can help stay protected and get protection from Yahweh Yahweh Shai to keep your crown. Okay, let's keep reading. Verse 3. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings thou shalt trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Hold on. It say the Lord truth is going to be your shield and buckler. Then Yahweh Shai say, I am the way, the truth, and the light. All right. So Yahweh Shai said, I'm the door. So long as you good and you locked in with Yahweh Shai, you good and you locked in with the Father. And the Father said his truth is going to be a shield and a buckler to you to help you maintain your crown and stay protected. That's so beautiful that the Lord put that like that. And for that link up to pop out like that through the Spirit. All right. That's beautiful. Real quick. Something I think I wanted. All right. Now I was thinking about something. Now it's cool. We're gonna proceed through the Spirit, though. Nevertheless. All right. Let's get the book. Let's go back to John 10. We're going to John 10 and we're going to read 27 through 29. Check it out. John 10, 27 through 29. It says, my sheep hear my voice and I know them and they follow me. And I give unto them eternal life and they shall never perish. Neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. My Father, which gave them me, is greater than all. And no man is able to pluck them out of my Father's hand. So, hey, the sheep, they know the voice of the Lord, man. So the sheep is going to listen to Yahweh Shai. As long as you listen to Yahweh Shai, there's no way your crown should get took. Because the Lord just said that all those that was given to him, they can't be plucked out of his hand. Because they can't even be plucked out of his Father's hand. Okay, so as long as we listen to our shepherd, it say his sheep know his voice. And the Lord say, look, he is that door. Yahweh Shai say he is that door. All right, he going to let you come in and feed you pastures. He's going to protect you. He's going to be a shield and a buckler too. That's what the Most High said in Psalms 91. As long as you do all these things, you'll be all right. And there's no way you can get plucked out of the hand of the Lord. There's no way. It's impossible. All right. Let's move on. Let's go to Revelation 3 and 20. All right. This book of Revelation, chapter 3 and verse number 20. It say what? Behold, I stand at the door and knock. So Yahushua, he just said, he told you he was the door in John 10. All right, he told you he was the door. Yahushua standing at the door knocking, trying to see who gonna let him in. He just said, if you come in, you're gonna find pasture, you're gonna be all right. It say what? Let's read again. It says, behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice, hold on. What did it say? The sheep knew? The sheep know the voice of the Lord. Yahushua just said, if any man hear my voice and open the door. So if the sheep know Yahushua's voice, and Yahushua say, whoever hear my voice and open the door, the sheep that know Yahushua's voice, they're going to open the door. Meaning they're going to enter into that protection. So their crown don't get taken. They say, what? And open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him and he with me. So if Yahushua knock at the door and you open the door, he going to come in. He going to sup with you and you going to sup with him. And you get that protection. And you get those pastures that he talked about. And then you get that hedge built around you. Now you got Yahushua and the Most High on your side to protect you. So can't nothing take your crown. So Satan can't take your crown. Satan can't just bombard Yahushua and just, snatch things out of Satan. No, don't work like that. Okay. So Yahushua knocking at the door. We got to answer. So he can sup with our spirit and build us up. All right. So we can endure the fiery trial, keeping hold of our crown. Because it's a fiery trial, keeping hold on your crown. I mean, you have 1,000,001 demons trying to get you. You got spirits, demons, Satan, he want to get you. All these spirits want to take your crown. Everybody want to stab at it. All right. So, I mean, hey, it's a big deal. All right. Having a crown is a big deal. That's not a light matter. Like I said, it's a lot that come with a crown. Rulership, authority, dominion. It's a big deal. Now, I did some research as well. On a crown and the significance of it. So I'm gonna just read it. So this, I just Googled it. So Google, that's the source, if you will. So getting a crown placed on your head is an ancient, deeply symbolic act that signifies the formal transfer of authority, responsibility, and elevated status. So that's a big deal when you get a crown placed on your head. Like I said, I got it straight off Google. I just researched what's the significance of getting a crown placed on your head. All right. Because that's what we read in 2nd Ezra. That's what the Lord said. You kind of get this crown placed on your head. Okay. Even if Jake want to look at it as a spiritual crown or whatever, it doesn't matter. Jake could argue like it's not literal, and then brother say it is literal. Jake say, oh, it's metaphoric, blah, blah. It don't matter. The significance of that point blank period, regardless of how Jake may want to look at it, it's a big deal. Because what did it say? When a crown placed on your head, it's an ancient, deeply symbolic act that signifies a formal transfer of authority. So you're getting authority transferred to you when you so-called when you cross that finish line and get the kingdom. You're getting responsibility transferred to you to have dominion and rule over these nations and run the earth in righteousness. And you get an elevated status. Okay, which is a big deal. You think people not gonna know who the elect is? You think people not gonna know who the mighty ones of the earth is that made it, out of this captivity and endured through the second wilderness? You think the Lord not gonna put fame upon brothers and sisters and children, man? You're crazy if you think he not. Yahshua gonna shine bright, man. And the Lord said he that overcome, I'm gonna give him the morning star. I'm gonna be the chief illuminator of the earth. All right. So it say, let's keep reading this little information I got. It say historically and ceremonially, it represents a transition from a private individual to a public figurehead. So, this thing kind of is broadcasted. Okay, everybody's gonna know. You a public figurehead. Hey, you one of the ones. It's a elect brother right there. One of the 1/3. One of the mighty ones in Israel. You one of the 144. One of the mighty ones in Israel. You a public figurehead, man. It says from a private individual to a public figurehead, often holding both political and spiritual power. So that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Receiving a crown is a big deal, right? Even with this practical research that we just pulled out, it's supported by the scriptures essentially. because you will receive authority, responsibilities, and elevated status, and political and spiritual power. You literally gonna receive these things, man. Straight up and down. So let's put together precepts for a mini breakdown, for like better terms, to support the research essentially. Because the research do link up with the scriptures. Where do you think they got it from anyway? Where do you think they get this view to even break it down like that from anyway? They get it from the precepts, and throughout history and whatnot. All right. So let's go to Luke 19. Let's go to Luke 19. All right. And we're going to start at verse 16. Luke 19 and 16. We're going to read down to 19. Luke 16 and 19, it says, then came the first, saying, Lord, thy pound hath gained 10 pounds. So they flipped the talents. Your pound gained 10 pounds. All right. So you got the righteous servants that, flip their talents. These are the ones who are going to get the reward. These ones who are going to get the crown. It says, and he said unto him, well, thou good servant, because thou hast been faithful in a very little, have thou authority over 10 cities. So that's authority. You're going to have authority over 10 cities, right? Whether that be literal 10, whether, 10 could be a number of completion as well. But a brother may literally get 10. A brother may get 5. A brother may get 20, whatever the case may be. The point is you get authority over them. You're in charge of these cities. You run these cities in order and in righteousness. So, like they said, when you get a crown, you get authority. Okay, through the Spirit. So that's what we're going to get is authority. It say what else? And the second came saying, Lord, thy pound have gained 5 pounds. And he said likewise to him, be thou also over 5 cities. So you do get authority when you get this crown, when you endure, when you hold fast and be obedient to Yahweh Basham Yahushua, his son. You get this crown. Okay. You get this authority. All right. Imagine that, humbly, of course. Imagine that you in charge over 5 major cities, man. Wherever they at, doesn't matter. Brothers and sisters live in cities right now. You're not in charge. No, you're not. I don't even want to hear Jake try to, come with all they rhetoric. I don't want to hear that. Jake try to come up. I don't pay taxes and I don't do this. Bro, be quiet, bro. You look, get out of here. Stop trying to sound sweet. Stop trying to sound cool. You think you are more and you don't pay taxes and you get free this and free. Be quiet, man. You ain't talking about nothing. All right. Go ahead on, man. All right. You're not in authority right now. You don't run the city that you're in right now. You don't. Okay. But imagine that in the kingdom. I was trying to tell you, hey, look, these 5 cities right here, keep them on lock. And he's saying it in the Hebrew. He's saying it in the Hebrew. He ain't talking English, too. He's saying it in the Hebrew, man. So you keep these 5 cities on lock. This your designated portion right here. Be thou ruler over these cities right here, man. And you gotta keep Moab in check. All right, you gotta keep Esau in order until he gone up out of this thing, man. All right, you gotta keep the portion of the nations in your city. You gotta keep them in order. All right, and you got how they break it down in America. You got that. You got mayors. You got a governor over a city. You got a mayor over a city, a governor over a city. I'm like the main too. I ain't all that. I'm not the smartest person in the batch or whatever, but you got mayors. All right, you got levels to the rulership in the city. You know what I'm saying? The governor can kind of trump what the mayor talking about. Okay, but the mayor, hey, that may be the first line of, I don't want to say defense, but the first line or whatever to get something to change within your local community or whatever the case may be. All right, hey, but we talking about being a ruler over the whole dang city, man. All right, governors usually be over states or whatever, something like that. You got governors of Michigan, governor of Florida. You got these governors. All right, they rule over the whole state. You got people going to be ruling over the city, man. All right, straight like that. Let's get another one. Let's go to Daniel. All right. Daniel 7. Going into the crown. All right. Daniel 7, verse 27. Daniel 7:27. It says, and the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High. Go back to that authority. Hey, Israel gonna be the first dominion. Okay, it's gonna be the first true dominion under Yahweh Shai. All right. It said the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven is gonna be given to the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. So the Most High kingdom that he set up through his son Yahweh Shai, hey, the kingdom of Israel, hey, everybody's gonna serve and obey. So you're gonna have authority over the whole all nations, man. It's gonna be ran by Yahweh Shai and the elect. The 144 gonna be the governing class. Are you gonna have a 1/3? Okay, and they gonna run this show. They're gonna run this show righteously, and they're gonna receive authority, and everybody's gonna be subject to them. That's what it said. I ain't making this up. It say what? What did it say at the end? And all dominions shall serve and obey him. So all dominions gonna serve and obey Yahweh and his son Yahweh Shai. Straight like that. Why? Just authority. They're going to run this thing in righteousness, man. The Most High give authority. Didn't the Lord say all things in heaven and earth gonna be made subject to his son? Point blank period. So when his son is reigning on the earth, all nations will obey him. All nations will serve him. He will have authority over all these nations. And Yahweh Shai is going to set up government. You understand in Isaiah, the government should be upon his shoulders. He's going to set up government. You got the 12 sitting on thrones, right? Judging, issuing out orders and directives. You got the 144. You got the 1/3. They're going to run this show in righteousness with full authority under Yahweh Shai. Full authority from the Father down to the Son. Okay. Let's go to the next segment. Responsibility. All right. Let's go to Revelation, all right? Chapter 2. All right. We got to be responsible. All right, through the Spirit. It's book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 26. All right, say what? It says, and he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. When you receive power over the nations, due to you what? Getting the crown. When you receive power over the nations, that means you must run the nations in order. You're going to be responsible for keeping the Moabites in order, for setting up government and rules and regulations, which is the law, statutes, and commandments, issuing them out to keep that city in check, to keep these heathens in check. You're going to get power over the nations. You're going to be able to issue out the law, statutes, and commandments to keep these people in order. Okay, you have to issue out judgments if they get out of order, because the Lord is going to give you that power due to you receiving a crown. People are going to be subject to you in righteousness. And they all go back to them being subject to the Most High and his son. Because it's their laws and commandments that we issuing out. And say what? Let's read it again. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. So Yahweh Shai received that of his Father. He received that power. Okay, he received that heavy responsibility, all right, to rule over the nations and to rule them with a rod of iron. Strict correction, strict order. Okay, rod of iron ain't nothing to play with. He not about to play around with the nations, man. The Lord don't even play around with us. What it say? What's that? 1 Peter 4:17 say judgment gonna start at the house of the Lord, man. Lord don't even play with us. He give us severe chastenance and judgments, man. 2/3 of our own people got to get the boot and face severe wrath of the Lord. So the Lord will rule these nations with a rod of iron. Strict order. Righteous, holy order, man. Okay, a rod or a staff is used for correction. He said a rod of iron. It's not nothing to play with. All right. But guess what? It say you gonna receive that when you overcome, when you get that crown placed on your head. Because those are the people that run the show. A king, princes, all right, captains. They're the ones who run this show, running everything all in order. So it said, what's going to happen? It says, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers. Get some pottery. Get you a damn rod and fire, and watch it break to shivers and pieces. Hey, sometimes you got to break people into order. They got to be beaten and broken to get in order. Sometimes it might not be like that for everybody. Some people, one good hit and they get the message. Other people, like the scripture, you have to break them to shivers and pieces. Okay. So I have to really straighten the nations out. All right. And say what though? This will be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. Right? So that's mighty right there. Okay. That's absolutely beautiful. That's what you receive when you get your crown. Responsibility over the nations to keep them in order, to keep them in check, to rule them, and righteousness, of course. Now let's go to this elevated status. Go to Revelation 3 and 21. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 3 and verse 21. It says, to him that overcometh will I grant to sit with me in my throne. It says, even as I also overcame and am set down with my Father in his throne. So we know Yahushua sit right there at the right hand. Yahushua overcame. Okay, and he got exalted. He got that elevated status. Right? You read about that in Hebrews 1st chapter. Okay, Yahushua, he humbled himself and came down here, took upon the seat of Abraham, man. Okay, and went through what he went through, and he would see that elevated status and everything in heaven and earth subject under his foot, man. Okay, so you're gonna receive that elevated status. You're gonna be able to. What it say? It say to him that overcome will I grant to sit with me in my throne. So you're gonna be sitting in the because to sit on the throne is an elevated status. Okay. You're joint heirs with Yahushua. Yahushua literally said, whoever overcome, I'm going to confess you before my Father and the angels. That's elevated status, bro. He's going to confess you before the Most High, before his Father, and before the whole heavenly host. And you know who are part of that host? Satan. So the same person that's standing there to accuse you, like you say in Zechariah, you're going to get confessed before him too. You gonna be confessed as one of the ones that he could not break. Okay. So you're gonna get that elevated status. Thrones is for status. You don't sit on the throne, you don't get close to a throne unless you're one of the ones, unless you're that guy. All right. Simple as that. Okay, so let me get another one. Let's go to Romans 8 and 17, classic. Being joint heirs with Yahushua. So Yahushua get exalted. You know, sitting on his throne. We get exalted through the Spirit as well. Right? Romans 8 and 17. It says, and if children, then heirs of God, and joint heirs with a Mashiach, if so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. So that's what I mean when they say you go sit on that, you sit on the throne with Yahushua, you're getting exalted, elevated status with Yahushua. You're getting glorified with Yahushua. Just how Yahushua got glorified when he went through what he went through, and he sitteth where on the right hand of God. Stephen saw that in a vision and in the trance in Acts the 7th chapter, verse 55, I believe. He's seen Yahushua sitting at the right hand. What it say in Colossians 3 and 1? Yahushua that stood up on the right hand of God. He's in that elevated status and position, sitting on the throne, up there with the Most High. Okay? So it's the same thing for us. All right? It's the same thing for us through the Spirit. Let me get another one. Let me get 2 Timothy 2 and 12. This book is 2 Timothy, right? 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse number 12, it say what? If we suffer, we shall also reign with him. See that? If we deny him, he will also deny us. So the Lord said, we suffering with him, we're going to reign with him. So Yahushua going to be that guy in the kingdom, elevated status. We going to be them guys in the kingdom with him, elevated status. Are we going to be equivalent? Obviously not. We're not even seeking that. Okay? We going to be reigning with him. We his little brothers, his little sisters. All right? And that's all we need. We don't need no more. Okay? Yahushua going to get his daughter, he's going to get elevated, and we will as well. So we're going to be joint heirs with him, man. All right, that's beautiful. I'm gonna read that one more time. It say, if we suffer, we shall also reign with him. So you suffer with Yahushua, you drink the cup, get baptized with the baptism he baptized with, right? Take upon that yoke, like I talk about in Matthew 11. All right, 20 and on down. Hey, look, you'll reign with Yahushua. You'll get that elevated status with Yahushua and be known as one of those holy elect people that was in the hand of the Most High, that cannot be plucked out, that was in the hand of his son, that could not be plucked out. All because you did what? You endure and you receive the crown. So these is all the things that come with the crown. Authority come with the crown. Responsibility come with the crown. Elevated status come with getting the crown. All right. Let's go to Revelation 5 and 10. Book of Revelation, right? Chapter 5 and verse number 10. It says, what? It has made us unto our God kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. So hold on, man. The elect that make it through, kings and priests, they're going to reign on the earth. You're going to get that elevated status and be reigning amongst the earth. All right. When you ruling over 10 cities, you're reigning amongst the earth. How I just told you, with the talent period, when you flip them talents, you're going to be ruled over 10 cities. Okay. That's reigning amongst the earth. That's a big deal. That's an elevated status. People gonna know who you is. You think nobody gonna know how you know who you is, and you're over 5 cities, you're over 10 cities, you're over 14 cities. Okay, they're gonna know you are a big deal. Okay, because you're gonna get that elevated status. All right, now let's go into political power. Because y'all, the elect, they're gonna receive political power. They're gonna be putting nations in order and telling them what to do. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 2. Show you political power. Or a form of political power, rather. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 2. We're going to read 2 through 4. Isaiah 2, I'm starting verse 1. It says, the word that Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. It says, verse 2, and it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. So all the nations, they're going to be flowing to Yahshua. This is called political power right here. Let's see, they're going to flow, and let's what else? It says what? And many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. That's what you call political power. Law implies what? Courts, enforcement, policies. Okay, that's what law implies. We're literally going to run the earth, and it's going to be by the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. That's political power right there. Running the whole earth in check and making them abide by what God said should be done. Okay, any matters of court, judgment, whatever, is going to be ran according to the standard of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. That is political world power and domination right there. Everybody has to abide by. We're not going to go by what dang Elam think it should be. We're not going to go by what, Moab think it should be. No, you're going to go by the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Okay. These countries have political power. All right. You got politics, you got government, you have all that within all these different countries. You even have international law. You got with the current events going on with Iran and Russia, America and all of that. Iran starts speaking on their international laws, that certain things that they know they can do internationally, that gives them even more right to fight back and send missiles and do this and do that. You have something called international law. Okay. So the political power we're going to have on such a high level after receiving a crown, right? We're going to have the whole world walking and abiding by the standard of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Everybody got to get with the program. And if you don't want to get with the program, you're a heathen, you're going to get beat to shivers. You're going to get broken. You'll get destroyed. All right. It's just that simple. Okay. A couple precepts. Let's go to Revelation 11. All right. Revelation chapter 11 and verse 15. Watch this. Revelation 11 and 15. And the 7 angels sounded, and there were great voices in heaven saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord and of his Christ, meaning his anointed, and he shall reign forever and ever. So once again, these nations are going to be subject under us. When Yahushua come back, and ruled amongst the earth. It said the kingdoms of this world has become the kingdoms of our Lord and his anointed, his Christ, meaning his anointed. So, I mean, Yahweh and the elect is going to be reigning over everybody, essentially. And you know what they're going to do when they reign over everybody? And we just read in Isaiah, they all going to flow to the house of the Lord. And the law is going to go forth out of Zion. So that means when all these nations is subject unto Yahweh, when they subject about to tell you the most about that for. But when it comes to, on earth reigning as a system of people, hey, they're going to be subject to Yahweh Shai. And they're going to be subject to the law of the Most High. Point blank, period. Political world domination. Not getting with the program really not an option, because if you don't get with the program, then the Lord going to destroy you as a nation of people. So, I mean, it really is a get down or lay, get down, lay down. Just got to deal with it. Let me read it one more time. It say, and the seventh angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven saying, the kingdoms of this world. So all the kingdoms of this world, or these nations, say what? Are become the kingdoms of our Lord and of his Christ. And he shall reign forever and ever. So, of course, Yahweh is going to reign forever and ever, right? And all these kingdoms is going to be subject to Yahweh, meaning they'll be subject to Yahweh and the elect and the laws of the Most High. Political world domination and power. And it's going to happen when you do what? You get your crown. You get your crown. Okay, let's go to Isaiah 32:1. This is beautiful. World domination and righteousness. We see world domination, or they trying to do world domination. We see it in wickedness nowadays. They kind of, I don't know, they off with it. They ain't really doing it right. And then not only that, they trying to do world domination nowadays, and these country laws are very strange. I see if you was trying to do world domination and then you had righteous laws you was going to issue out and make the other nations follow, but you don't. You're trying to superimpose your filthy, lewd, wicked ways amongst all these nations. That's why I say everybody drunk with the wine of Babylon. They're fornicating with Babylon. They're diving into the wickedness of America, bro. They're not getting with the program by Yahweh Bashem El-Shai. These buffoons put on their own dollar bill and say, in God we trust. Well, how do you trust in God, but you're trying to superimpose your foolish, evil ideology on everybody else? And your foolish, evil ideology is not the commandments of the Lord. It wouldn't be foolish then if it was, but it's not. Everybody must transform now. Everybody must accept Decepticons. You don't know. That's not what the Lord pushing out. Okay, it's madness. Okay, that's off. The book of Isaiah chapter 32 and verse 1. Check this out. It say what? Behold, a king shall reign in righteousness, and princes shall rule in judgment. All right, that's plain upon the tables. And we know Yahweh Shai gonna be the king. We know that we gonna be the princes under the Lord, man. All right, we're gonna rule in judgment. Okay, who do you think the prince is gonna be that's ruling in judgment? That's telling these nations what to do and issuing out decrees and righteousness, showing forth that Yashala is the dominant power of the earth, the political power of the earth. It's gonna be the elect, man. Yahweh Shai and the elect. They're gonna shoot forth judgment and issue out decrees and righteousness. Okay, let's go to Daniel 7. All right, this book of Daniel. All right, chapter 7, verse 13. It say what? Daniel 7:13. It says, I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven and came to the ancients of days, and they brought him near before him. Right? So that's Yahweh Shai coming before the Most High. Let's see verse 14. Check this out. It's saying there was given him dominion. So Yahweh Shai was given dominion and glory and a kingdom that all people, so hold on, Yahweh Shai just received dominion, meaning power and glory and a kingdom. Who's Yahweh Shai kingdom going to be? The Israelites, the elect of Israel. Now let's see what happens. It says what? That all people, not some, not a few. All people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion. Okay? It's an everlasting dominion. So let's break that down. It say all people, all nations, and languages, they're gonna serve Yahushua in his kingdom. By default, they're serving, they're going to have to be serving the Most High. Because Yahushua's kingdom is going to be ran with the law, statutes, and commandments from the Most High. And who's going to be joint heirs with Yahushua? Hey, Lord willing, us as the elect, Lord willing, 1/3, 144. But nevertheless, it's going to be Israel, all in all, joint heirs. Okay. It say what? That all nations serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, in his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. So, hey, you're ruling forever. You'll be ruling forever. Okay. I mean, holding it down. Pure political world domination and power. All right. And we're not letting up. We're not taking turns. It's not, look, y'all, y'all got 100 years. And then they kind of say, all right, look, Moab gonna be up next. We're gonna be Moab 25 years. No, this is forever, even forever and ever. We're not swapping. We're not swapping out. Moab not getting a 25-year stab at it. Then kind of say, Esau, look, before you get eradicated, we let you get 10 years in. We let you rule for 10. No, man. This is Yashala for okay. This is Yashala forever and always through the Spirit. All right, let's get a classic Isaiah 9. Isaiah 9 and 6 through 7. Book of Isaiah, all right, chapter 9, verse 6. We'll start at verse 6. They say what? For unto us a child is born, and unto us is a son given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, right? And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Almighty beautiful titles for Yahushua, right? It says, of the increase of his government and peace, there shall be no end. So Yahushua government not coming to an end. His kingdom not coming to an end. His rulership not coming to an end. It says what? There should be no end upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth, even forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. So this is forever. This is forever, even forever and ever. These the nations have never done a good job anyway. I don't care what nation was in power. They never did a good job. By default, they don't do a good job because they never ran the world according to the standard of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Never. Now, essentially, they by default, they get their morals from the Most High, essentially. You got some nations, just about every nation, if you kill somebody, you go to jail or, whatever the case may be. They get all their standards and morals from the scriptures in some form or fashion. Because the Most High is the first and the only to issue righteousness into this world in any capacity anyway. Okay, that's from the time of Adam all the way on out. Lord put the breath of life in Adam, put wisdom in Adam to know his law, statutes, and commandments and things of that nature. So Adam could run the garden in order. So the righteous influence has always came from the Most High anyway. And that left-hand influence, you can say that came from Satan. Right? You got protagonists, you got damn antagonists. All right, same playing his left-hand role. So righteousness and the understanding of doing what's right has always entered the world from Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Always. From the get-go. So unless these nations ever was to run the world in such fashion as these commandments in these first 5 books, if they ain't did it that way, you ain't do it right. You ain't do it right. Nope. You ain't do it right. Point blank, period. That's the way to do it. And that's exactly how it's gonna be done when Yahushua come back. And the elect, they get crowned and it's time to run this show. They're gonna run it according to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Like that. Now let's touch on spiritual power, because that was another thing that they said as well. You already know you get spiritual power. Lord, when do we make it? You already know that's part of the package deal. All right. Let's go to the book of Philippians. This is Philippians classic 3 and 20. Book of Philippians chapter 3 and verse 20 to 21. It says, for our conversation is in heaven, from whence also we look for the Savior, the Lord Yahushua Mashiach, right? Which we is waiting for him to come back. It says, what? Who shall change our vile body, that it may be fashioned like unto his glorious body? See that? So we trying to get this glorified body. It says, according to the working whereby he is able even to subdue all things unto himself. So we want that beautiful glorified body that Yahushua got, that gives him all this great might and power and ability. That's what we want. And how we gonna get that? Through the crown. And once that crown get placed on your head, that's what it is. The deal is sealed. All right, the deal is sealed, and that's a wrap. That's all, folks. All right, it's time for you to get this beautiful, holy, spiritual body, right? And that's full of power and might, just like Yahushua. Okay, and let's get another glimpse of that through the spirit. All right, let's go to the classic Isaiah 40. Okay, this is what a spiritual body do for you. Because this flesh right now, you run, you're gonna get tired. I don't care if you can run 5 miles, don't matter. You got athletic men and all that good sweet stuff. You get tired because you're a human. All right. Your lungs is not something from out of this world. No, you're gonna get tired. All right. You're gonna breathe heavy. You're gonna get thirsty. You're gonna go through all these mortal feelings. All right. That's just what it is. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 40. And actually I could start at 29 for real. This whole thing fire. All right. It says what? Isaiah 40 and 29, he giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might, he increaseth strength. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. So, hey, you can't get spiritual power. Get spiritual power. Remember, it was political power, spiritual power, responsibility, elevated status, and authority. That I believe, from the Google research or whatever. All right, so when it touches on all of them, that's spiritual power. You want your spiritual power, man. When you get this glorified body, you're running and you're coughing up your lungs, dang it. No, man, no. When you get that crown, you're going to get the spiritual power too with the holy glorified elect body. All right. Kind of had that moment of Dragon Ball Z like Cell when he was doing this with his hands. And he couldn't believe it. He said, damn, this power. He kind of doing this, doing the punching, man. Hey, you gotta go build your spiritual body, man. Kind of looking at it. Man, feel different, man. Walk different. You're speaking a pure, holy Hebrew now. You talk different. All right, you think different. You got the law, statute, commandments in your mind. No more madness, off thoughts, man. All right. So we're going to get many things in righteousness as long as we hold on to our crown and endure. You receive all these things, you get crowned, man. Once you pass under the bond of the covenant and get that mighty body and get that mighty crown, you receive a lot of things: power, dominion, rulership, power. Okay, elevated status. You're going to be that guy or that sister, man. All right. So all praise to the Most High. All right. So Lord willing, brothers and sisters, was edified through the Spirit and exhorted to hold fast to their crown. I got to hold fast in mine. Lord willing, I can do that. Brothers and sisters got to hold fast to theirs. Lord willing, you all could do that. Lord willing, Most High have mercy upon us. All right. So once again, Lord willing, brothers and sisters, was edified through the Spirit, and Lord willing, we all receive mercy from Yahweh Basham El-Shai to hold fast to our crown. Let me get one more precept. All right, we're going to close out with this book of James, right? Chapter 1 and 12. All right. Book of James, chapter 1 and verse number 12. It say, what? Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life,